The sixth phylum is of segmented worms. As I told you, we are going to study 3 phylums which are dedicated towards worms. This is the third one and the last one. We are not going to deal with worms anymore. These are segmented worms and hence is the name Annelida, because in Latin there is a word known as annulus which means rings. So these rings are somehow depicting the segments of the body. So we have segmented worms over here, which is the typical example of this particular phylum is the earthworm that comes out when it rains. So we are going to study about earthworm typically. But before that we need to see the characteristics, that is they are triploblastic. Yes, we have moved quite further from the stage where they were cellular, then we moved to diploblastic, then we were having a condition where it was not completely triploblastic. Now we are going to have triploblastic only, and so is this organism. It is triploblastic. All the organisms of the phylum would be triploblastic. They would be bilaterally symmetrical, and over here we can see that there is a proper developed organ system grade that is present. There would be an excretory system with certain organs, there would be a digestive system, nervous system and circulatory system as well. Now the next important point is metameric segmentation is seen over here, and there is true coelom that is present. Coelomate organisms these are. They are having a complete body cavity which would be lined by a peritoneum. Remember the term, peritoneum is the lining that lines either the cavity or the alimentary canal. So we have a peritoneum that lines the true coelom, and because these organisms are segmented, that means there is what does segmentation mean? We have discussed. Segmentation means that in each segment you are going to have individual organs of the organ system, and each segment itself is working in functionality itself is a unit, and then those all segments make an organism. So this each segment, it is partitioned. This coelom in each segment would be partitioned by peritoneal membrane septa. There would be a septa, it would be membranous, it would be a peritoneal membranous septa which would be dividing the coelom into each segment. Now supposedly I have an organism, these are the segments that I am talking about like this. If I have coelom over here, located over here, so it would also be partitioned by peritoneal septa. This is what I am trying to say. Okay. Now moving further, the body is covered by a cuticle that is secreted by ectoderm. Okay, this is one part. Then we have to talk about the locomotion. What you see over here is one is Nereis, that is an example. Then we have earthworms, and then we have leech. Those of you who do not like watching these things and get a creepy feeling, you can just concentrate over here and ignore watching these things, but we have to do it because we deal with the annelids. Now I have to discuss about parapodia. Now what are parapodia? See, these organisms, there is a class known as polychaetes. Many marine annelids, they have been classified into polychaetes, and what is the characteristic of these polychaetes? That is parapodia. Now what are parapodia? They are setae like structures which are present on the ventral side. They are foot, you can say, okay. They are feet of these polychaetes, and they are made up of chitin. So chitinous extensions from the ventral side which appear like feet like this. They are parapodia, and they are very important for marine forms. As you can see over here, these are parapodia which we are talking about. These parapodia, they are chitinous and they help the marine organisms for movement. Talking about those parasitic annelids, we have a parasitic annelid, and that is an ectoparasite. When I say ectoparasite, the parasite would not get inside the body but would feed on the nutritional fluid of the body from outside, as the example of leech, as the example of the lice in your head. That is, those are ectoparasites. That means they do not get inside the body. Previously we were talking about endoparasites. The worms, the earlier platyhelminths and eschelminths and few nematodes that we talked about, they were endoparasites. That means they get inside the body completely, they would go inside the body. In case of ectoparasites, they would only cling to the body surface externally and take up the nutrition whatever is required. In the case of leech, that is an ectoparasite, it does not have parapodia. The parasitic forms of annelids, they do not have parapodia. How do they do movement? They do movement by undulatory movement of musculature. The locomotion would be brought about by that movement which is brought about by the musculature. Now in the case of earthworm also, you won't find parapodia. Here also you would find the musculature which is bringing about the movement. Now we need to talk about that. Now how does that take place? The arrangement of muscles in the body is such that there is a layer of longitudinal muscles and there is a layer of circular muscles. Now when the longitudinal muscle moves along with the help of circular muscles, there is a movement that is brought about by body, and I need not to tell you how does an earthworm move. You must have seen somewhere or else in your life that an earthworm, initially there is a movement ahead, then there is backward movement, ahead movement, backward movement, just a typical worm movement that you observe, very slimy though, but that movement is brought about by the arranged muscles in such a manner, the longitudinal muscles and the circular muscles which are present inside the body, that bring about that musculature movement in totality and locomotion takes place. Now moving further, see, this is what I want to show you. This is Nereis. You can see the parapodia over here. You can see the segments, and this segmentation is not like the segmentation in case of tapeworm. That was superficial one. This is actual segmentation that is present inside the coelom as well. As I told you that this true coelom would be separated by peritoneal septa that would be present. Over here you see that there is also segmentation. The segmentation is present over here as well. This is a leech. This is an earthworm and this is a Nereis. So this is a polychaete basically. We keep it aside, they are marine forms, they have different structures for locomotion. They are going to bring about their movement by circular and longitudinal muscles. You see the rings over here. Now when we talk about systems and when we see this, there is prostomium, peristomium, and opening known as mouth, and there is an anal opening as well. That means there is a complete digestive system. Not just complete digestive system, the digestive system now would be divided into parts where there would be churning in one part, crop area, then there would be absorption in one part, there would be a large intestine that would be responsible for absorption and assimilation. So the digestive system is moving towards advancement where the organs are present and they are given different purposes for performing. We have an advanced digestive system. Now over here you have to remember that the new term that we have is circulatory system, and the circulatory system is closed. We have two types of circulatory system. One is open circulatory system and other is closed circulatory system. See, the circulatory system will not come into the scenario until and unless we have coelom. There would be a body fluid which would be circulating, and whether that body fluid circulates within the cavity openly, then it is an open circulatory system, and if it is moving in the blood vessels, destined blood vessels which move from one part to other, then it would be a closed circulatory system. This is little bit confusing at this stage, but you need to know, I am going to repeat it, that the two types of system, you see there is a body cavity like this, supposedly this is the alimentary canal and this is the body cavity. If the body fluid is present as it is over here and the organs are directly bathed into that fluid, then that case is open circulatory system. But in the other case, if there is a blood vessel supply, there are vessels which go directly to the organs instead of making them bathe in the fluid, that is known as closed circulatory system, and these annelids are the first ones to show a closed circulatory system. Alright, moving further, they have paired nephridia in each segment which are responsible for giving out the nitrogenous waste. There would be one over here, other one over here. The paired nephridia in each segment of their body that will be responsible for excretory purposes. The sexes are separate in most of the polychaetes, but in the case of earthworm, it is a hermaphrodite. That means it would be a bisexual organism. Only difference is that again this prefers cross fertilization instead of self fertilization. And last one is that is the development direct or indirect? It is indirect development. So what is the name of the larva? If it is indirect, it is trochophore, typically trochophore larva, the larval stage through which the annelids go and then developed into annelids. This is what we have observed. Now see the coelom over here. This is an earthworm. It is a clitellate which has clitellum. You don't have to get into detail of that, but still I would show you that there is a part known as clitellum. There is a 14 to 17 segment of earthworm that is having clitellum, and it is having a purpose to solve in earthworm, that is over here. There is a reproductive segments. This clitellum is responsible for the absorption basically, and it is the pouch in which the new eggs would be stored basically. Coming to the actual coelom, see this is the mesentery. There is mesodermal peritoneum that is present, mesodermal organs which are of mesodermal origin. This is the coelom, this is the body cavity inside which you find the organs. There is a separation mesentery, that is the joining of this peritoneum to the gut. So this is basically the coelomate arrangement, and inside these you are going to find the organs which are present of the mesodermal origin. Now this is a typical annelid body plan that you can see over here. What you see is mouth. Mouth is this one, this greyish part, this onion color sort of thing. This is the alimentary canal that is going and extending towards the most posterior part of the body. Mouth is the anterior most. Towards mouth you see that there is this is supraesophageal ganglion that is known as brain, because it is present above esophagus. There are setae which are present. Setae are for movement. In case it is not doing that, there would be musculature that would be responsible for movement. There is a ventral nerve cord running, two ventral nerve cords which would be running parallel to each other, and they would be towards the ventral surface. There are ganglions in each segment which are present. There is a reproductive system that is present, and there is supply of heart that is present. There is closed circulatory system we are talking about, and in the closed circulatory system there would be a pumping organ which would be responsible for pumping the body fluid into the blood vessels. We have the reproductive system, ovary, that is of female. Then we have seminal receptacle, we have sperm duct, that means male and female reproductive systems are present in the same case, same hermaphrodite. Then we have esophagus present over here. Then we have coelom, that is the body cavity filled with the coelomic fluid. There are nephridia which are depicted over here, these bow shaped structures, as you can see, not that clear. These nephridia are going to be paired and they would be present inside the each segment. As I told you, there are two layers of muscle, circular and longitudinal. Their muscular layer would be present outside, that is we talk about that there is cuticle which is present. There are septa which divide the segments into each. There is clitellum that is shown over here, 14, 15 and 14 to 17 segment. The digestive system is divided into crop for temporary storage of food. Then there is gizzard for digestion. Then there is intestine, and hence the body has been divided into certain parts. You see the reproductive system getting advanced. You see the digestive system is getting advanced. The alimentary canal is getting divided into more parts. You see that there is a more developed circulatory system that has come into this phylum. So in a way we are having a developed body plan that we see in the case of earthworm, and we need to remember the names of few annelids which are under our syllabus, the scientific names as well as the common names. The first one I need not to say, it would be Ferretima, that is the earthworm. Second one is the one polychaete that we talked about, the marine form that has setae, parapodia as we call it. It is Nereis. We saw it in the picture of first slide that we had. Then we have Aphrodite. All these are scientific names, please pay attention. Aphrodite is otherwise known as sea mouse. It's not mouse though, but it is known as sea mouse. Mouse is a mammal, you need to remember that. Then we have Tubifex. Next one is the leech, otherwise known as Hirudinaria. It is the blood sucking leech that comes and sticks to the body and sucks leech out of our skin. Then we have Terebella. We have Bonellia. I guess these much examples are enough to remember. 7 of the examples you have seen. These much examples are enough. These examples are those of the annelids, which would be present in different locations, the terrestrial forms, the marine forms. And one thing you have to remember before we pile up about annelida, have a look at these. I am going to stay here. One thing you have to remember is that these annelids, in case they are terrestrial, as I told you, they have closed circulatory system, not open one. As they have closed circulatory system, there would be exchange of oxygen, and how that exchange of oxygen takes place, that takes place by moist skin. So that is why earthworm does not come out in the days of extreme heat. Whenever there is moisture, that is in the rainy season, it comes out because the exchange has to take place by the moist surface, skin surface, and mostly these organisms, they prefer staying in water only. One thing more you have to see, that till now we haven't seen much of terrestrial forms in the phylums that we have discussed. Least are terrestrial. If we have discussed about parasitic, they are also staying in some sort of fluid. So next, when we move further, we are going to see certain forms which have developed a mechanism for terrestrial survival. That means we are going to see an advanced respiratory system as well, which was not clear till now. Slowly and steadily you are going to see that the developed organisms are going to develop few more organ systems, and that decides how advanced they are, how evolved they are. So we are going to see the next phylum. This is all about phylum Annelida.